Hello YouTube, this is Chris from CW62. I'm just making this video. I'm going to try to keep it short. It's in response to a challenge video put out this morning by a good friend of mine, Marty, from Marty's Rambling. I'm going to title it, Meet the Woodworker. I am a woodworker by choice. I am more of a hobbyist instead of a woodworker. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and I'll tell you a little bit about my woodworking. But unfortunately, other than the clock that you see hanging on the wall behind me, that's really all the woodwork I have here in the house to show you. That's because I haven't been out in my garage, which I call my shop, since July. I went out there for a couple of days and I made a spoon out of pistachio wood for a lady over in the next town. She owns a used appliance store. My wife and I, we went and bought a dryer, and we were talking about the woodwork because she had saw a booth that my daughter and I had set up at a craft show, and she wanted to buy a spoon at the time, but she forgot to come back to buy one. So I made one for her, specifically just for her. But my name is Chris. I go by C-Dub. It's a nickname that a friend of mine gave me. He was D-Dub. I'm C-Dub. And I just recently, in August, turned 62 years old. Most of the time, I have a full white beard. And I shaved it off because up until today, since August, I have not been able to use the shower. I've had to take sponge baths because of medical reasons. Since, let's see, July 31st, I went to the emergency room and I had a catheter put in. Then I went and saw, 2 days later, I went and saw a podiatrist, and he put me on crutches and was trying to take care of an injury I had on the middle toe on my right foot. That didn't heal up, and I couldn't shower because I wasn't supposed to get it wet. So August 3rd, my 62nd birthday, he amputated the toe. Then in October, all this time, he'd been trying to take care of my foot, and my foot really wasn't healing up very well. And the infection spread over from my middle toe, it spread over to the toe next to my big toe. And with just in about a week, I had to have that toe amputated as well. Well, unfortunately, because of diabetes and other factors in my life, having heart disease and stuff, the veins in my foot are all full, as he put, all full of plaque and garbage, and not allowing enough blood to go in and start healing my foot up from the surgery. And of course, infection. And the infection went the other direction, and it got into the toes next to, well, the number, what they call the number 4 and number 5 toe, the little toe and the one next to it. And unfortunately, I was beyond the point of having those toes amputated because my foot wasn't healing. And he said that my foot was actually starting to die. So on November 7th, I had a below-the-knee amputation. They cut off part of my leg, took my my ankle and my foot along with the part of my leg that they removed. And so I've been recovering from that. So I haven't been allowed to go out and do any woodwork, which is driving me crazy. But I had all the staples removed today, and the doctor told me I can start taking showers today. So on the way home, we stopped at Walmart, and we got one of those handheld shower heads, and my wife and youngest son are going to install that tonight, and put my shower bench in the bathroom. So hopefully either tonight or tomorrow morning, I will be able to take my first shower in a few months. I am so looking forward to having nice, hot, warm water all over my body at one time. And I'm going to grow my beard back now because I'll be able to shampoo it and keep it clean. Whereas doing a sponge bath, excuse me, a little bit of phlegm. Doing a sponge bath, I just didn't feel I could keep my beard clean. But anyways, enough about that. God's healing me. He's doing a miraculous work in my life. And I'm actually looking at starting a ministry to go to the hospital and visit people and possibly, if I can, help them to go through their amputation as I'm going through mine. And, it doesn't have to be an amputation of the leg. It can be an arm, a hand, or whatever. But if they want somebody to talk to that's been there, I'm hoping that God gives me the ministry to do, and that's what I want to do, is I want to go and help other people. I had a gentleman from my church by the name of Don visit me in the hospital, and we talk, we text each other, and we talk at church, and he was a great help, and I want to be able to pass that along. I'm already at the 6-minute mark. I've got to get going. Okay, my name is Chris. I'm 62 years old. I'm a husband. My wife and I have been married currently 39 years. We've been together for 41 years. Yeah, 41 years. We've been together 2 years longer than we've been married. Our oldest son is 30, almost 31. Our oldest daughter is 21. Our oldest daughter is 24. Our youngest daughter is 21, and our youngest son is 20. We have 4 children, 2 boys, 2 girls. I don't call myself a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ. I go by that because of the stigma that a lot of people put on the word Christian. And I don't see anything wrong with that word, but I am a follower of Christ. I fall short every day, but I try to follow Jesus the way the Bible tells me to do. I've worked several ministries in the church. I've been a deacon at 2 different churches. I've worked in the nursery. I was the director of children's church at one of the churches. I've been involved in Awana, which is a faith-based program for boys and girls. We did from basically preschool cubbies all the way up to T&T, boys and girls, which I believe is the 6th grade. And then they started doing the junior high and high school kids, but I didn't get involved with that. And I used to do the pit stops, which is cutting out and helping the kids make the race cars for the Awana Derby, kind of like a Pinewood Derby with the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, or the Awana Grand Prix, not the Awana Derby. And I would help cut them out and help them design them, and then they would have to put them together and paint them, and then they would race them on race day. I really enjoy my 2 biggest hobbies besides woodworking are hunting and fishing. I haven't been able to go hunting as much as I would like to. Actually, in the last 20 years, I haven't been able to go at all because of health reasons. And at one time, for 12 years, I owned my own business. I was a locksmith, and I stayed busy doing the business and being able to financially take care of my family. And I would go fishing every time I had a chance. I love to fish. Fishing is one of my most favorite things to do. I throw back or give away more fish than I keep to eat for myself and my family. Basically, I'm the only one in my family that eats fish. And if I barbecue it, my wife will eat it if it's deep sea fish, if it's out of the ocean. I do woodworking, and I credit my woodworking. My father did a little bit of woodworking. He's a fantastic cabinet maker. He was in the Air Force for 20 years. Then after he retired, he became an auto mechanic and a beekeeper at the same time. And he made all of his beekeeping boxes and the frames for the honeycomb. And he taught me how to use a table saw, how to make box joints, and how to cut out the parts that were needed, and then I would assemble them for him. I started doing that when I was in about the 3rd or 4th grade, and that saved him and his business partner a lot of money from having to buy the boxes. I remember we got a double flatbed trailers full of 1x12, 16-foot long pine boards that took up the whole patio that we had in the back. And I spent the next 3.5 years making bee boxes and stuff out of them for my dad. Then, while I was also in elementary school, my elementary school principal, Mr. Dunlap, a man that kind of stepped in and became a father figure to me when my dad was shipped TDY with the military. And he'd go over to Anderson Air Force Base in Guam and then go over to Vietnam and do what he was an electronic technician, but he seemed like when he was gone, he was in the air working on the airplane more than he was on the ground doing stuff on the planes. But Mr. Dunlap kind of stepped in as a surrogate father figure, and every summer he would do a 2 to 4 week woodworking or woodshop program for the kids from 4th grade up. Well, he actually let me start coming in and doing basic projects in the 2nd grade. I wasn't allowed to use any of the tools other than a hammer, a screwdriver, a nail set or nail punch, and no saws, no hand saws or anything like that. And of course I could use sandpaper, but I wasn't allowed to use the power sanders. And he would work with me on woodworking. And then during school, he was also my instructor or my sensei for judo. I started doing judo. I was in his office almost every day because I had attitude problems. My problem was, I guess it's because I missed my dad and I didn't have a father figure at home. My older brother at the time was at the time still is, he's 5 years older than me, but he was kind of a bully and he liked to pick on his younger brother. So I didn't like being bullied, but I never backed down from a fight. And if somebody would look at me funny or say something to me that I didn't like, I was in a fight. So I was in the principal's office. And so Mr. Dunlap started a judo club. And he told me that he started the club because of me, because it was going to teach me discipline. But because he started the club for me, I was responsible for getting kids from the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade to join the judo club. I was like in the 3rd grade at the time. And so I had to go around and talk to all these kids to see if they wanted to join the judo club. And I think I got like 30 or 40 kids to join it. And Mr. Dunlap would take us to different competitions to watch how the judo was done. And then he would teach us and everything. And we actually went to different dojos and we did judo against other clubs. And what was really neat is Mr. Dunlap, when he got out of the Army, I believe he was in Korea, World War II or Korea, he actually went back and lived in Japan for several years and studied judo. He fell in love with the sport. And he was an honorary red and black belt. It's a black belt with red stripes on the end of it, is what he told us and showed us. And so he's the one that I really credit for teaching me about woodworking. And my best friend growing up, his dad, Mr. Larson, was a woodworker. And his thing was he built furniture. So he would try to teach me how to do furniture. So, you know, I gave it a try. I am not a furniture builder at all. I don't like making furniture. That's just not what I do. I've got a little coffee table that I made in high school. One of the legs, the glue joint gave out on it. The leg fell off. And I've had it for about 15 years now. Not the leg, but one of the feet fell off because it's a single post table. And I've got it in my bedroom closet. And 15 years later, I still haven't cleaned it up and re-glued the foot back on it. I keep saying one of these days I'm going to do it, but it's furniture building. I'm not a furniture builder. I'm a hobby builder. Excuse me, phlegm. I like making small projects. And one of the things that I got started in doing in hobby woodworking is I started doing scroll saw work. And I did it for a couple of months. And I showed somebody in my family some pictures that I wanted to scroll saw. It's called fretwork. It's a picture that you make out of a single board or several boards glued together, but you make all kinds of small, intricate, what are called internal cuts. They're cuts inside of the boundary of the board, and the picture stays attached to the board. Well, I was told that why are you going to try doing that and waste your time and waste your money? You will never be good enough to do that. Well, I listened to that and I believed it. So I just had a little $50 scroll saw that I bought from Harbor Freight. I put it in the shed. I had a little shed at the time, and I left it. I moved 3 or 4 times since then, and I would take it out once a year, twice a year, depending on how many pit stops we had at the church, to help cut out cars for Awana. But I did buy a tool called a Shopsmith Mark V. It's a 5-in-1 tool. It's a table saw. It's a horizontal boring machine. It's a drill press. It's that's a 12-inch sanding disc on it, and a wood lathe. And I bought it specifically because of the wood lathe function. I used to be a federal correctional officer, and I would go home at night feeling a little bit stressed out or couldn't fall asleep. So I would go out in the garage, and I'd put a piece of wood in the lathe, and I would make spindles. I have yet learned how to make bowls. I finally, through the wonder of YouTube, learned how to make bowls, and I've got to give that a try when I can get my prosthetic leg and I can stand for a while. And I want to make some bowls. But I can make spindles. I can make candlesticks. But that's about it, other than a bunch of wood shavings and wood chips. About 3 years ago, I got interested in scroll sawing again. I got tired of moving my scroll saw out from underneath my Shopsmith and tripping over it and everything. And I told myself, hey, you've got to start doing some more scroll sawing. You've got this thing. You've got to learn how. So I started watching YouTube videos. And that's where I saw Marty from Marty's Ramblings. And the first video I saw of his, he was sitting in a chair in the corner of his shop, and he was just talking. No scroll sawing work being done at all. But he was eating pistachios, and he was throwing the pistachio nut shells at his camera, or his phone. I didn't know it was his phone at the time. And he was just making jokes and having a great time and sharing his life. And I thought, well, this really isn't what I want to watch. So I finished that video, went to some other videos, but I kept going back to his videos. And it was like, you know what, this guy is about as crazy as I am. Doesn't take a whole lot of things very seriously, and he just likes to share his life. So that's how I got started watching Marty Rambling. Now, he does have videos where he shows woodworking, and he's quite an accomplished woodworker. And that's what got me back into scroll sawing. I bought a better quality saw. It's a $100 saw. I got it off Amazon. It's a 16-inch Win with a foot pedal, but I modified it. It came where it would take either pin blades or pinless blades, and I bought better pin holders, I guess you could say, or saw. I'm not pin, but blade holders, and I changed it over to where it's permanently pinless blades, and I like that so much better. And I can't wait till I get back out into my garage and start doing some more scroll saw work. And then before Marty started showing it, something I got interested in doing was spoon carving. Well, I got a carving set off Amazon, and I started carving a spoon. I used a piece of pine that has probably sat out in my garage, 10, 12 years, hard as a rock. I didn't know that I could take and draw the picture of the spoon or the outline of a spoon on it, then take my scroll saw or some other saw and cut all that wood away and then start carving the spoon. No, I carved the complete spoon out. And I think I've got about 6 hours in it, and I wouldn't even use it to scrape dog food out of a can to feed my dogs with. It's that bad. But I've got into spoon carving, and Marty got into spoon carving, and watching him and Frankie from White Wolf Adventures. Frankie's become quite an accomplished spoon carver. And I believe Lynn on Two Flips, I believe he's done some spoon carving, and maybe also Andy from the Wood Gnome. He's another YouTuber that I watch over in the UK. He does some beautiful woodwork, but also you want to talk about some really nice metal work? Andy does some beautiful metal work. You need to go check out the Wood Gnome, and he's got some woodworking that he posts. I mean, not woodworking, metalworking figurines that he's made out in his backyard. I believe over in the UK they call the backyard the garden. I'm really not sure. Their terminology is different than ours. But and then Robert just recently got a spoon carving set, and I don't remember if he's posted anything about his spoon carving or not. And Joseph, I believe his passion, and Robert is Bob's World, and then Robert is Robert. I can't remember his middle name, but his passion, from what I understand in woodworking, is he uses a wood lathe and he's a pin turner. And I would love to see some of the pins that he does. But Robert and Joseph both, I think I said Robert about the pin turning. No, it's Joseph. Joseph is a pin turner. Both of those gentlemen have fantastic singing voices. They both sing with groups. Joseph goes around with, I believe it's men from his church. He's a pastor out of Texas. And he goes around with men from his church. They have I believe it's a barbershop quartet. And he's got some videos of his singing posted. Fantastic. And Robert is with a singing group of men. And I believe they're more than a quartet. They're more like a choir. And then there's a ladies' choir also that is part of them. I can't think of their name right now, but I've seen some little clips that they've done. Really fantastic. I couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, and I often tell people I sing tenor. I sing 10 or 12 miles away from everybody else that's singing, so I don't make them go off tune. But anyways, I regress back to my woodworking. I'm a hobbyist. I like scroll saw work. I love making words. My favorite word to make is Jesus words. Love, hope, hug. I want to start learning how to do 3D cutting, compound cuts. I think that'll be fun to do. And spoon carving, and I want to start carving little figurines and trinkets. My wife won't let me do any carving in the house because the first time I did, I made a huge mess. I thought I cleaned it up, but she actually is the one that ended up cleaning up what I left behind. I like to make signs. I hand route them, and I sell things here or there at crafts fairs. I don't really care if I make any money at the craft fair or not. I go and I set up to be with my daughter, my 21-year-old, just basically to spend father-daughter time. And yeah, that's me basically in a nutshell. Is I do some woodworking when I can. I do some fishing when I can. I don't do hardly any hunting anymore. I want to get back into it, and maybe after I get the prosthetic, I can start doing some hunting. And I got into archery hunting, but I think probably now what I'm going to be doing more of is either being in a stand or bird hunting. But then again, I don't know how well I'm going to be able to walk through a field to chase after a little bird. And again, trying to develop this ministry that I want to do. I really feel that God put this ministry on my heart, and so that's what I want to do. And I also want to be able to honor God in my woodworking. That's why I think one of my favorite things to cut out on the scroll saw is Jesus words. And I give 90% of the stuff away that I make. Well, I've rambled now for almost 25 minutes. Marty, I stole your line. I rambled. I know you told us to make videos even if it's just rambling. But that's who I am. I'm a woodworker. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I am a follower of Jesus Christ. And I'm not afraid to say it. I thank those of you that have subscribed to my channel. I don't make videos to make any money. My video is not sponsored. I don't have commercials on my videos as far as I know. However, I will say, I'm not a beggar, but it's not beyond me to say if any of you out there work for a tool company and they do scroll saws or woodworking equipment, I'm not going to turn down any free equipment that y'all want to give me. I'll even make a video on it if I'm allowed to say, hey, this is a quality piece of equipment, or this ain't so good. you know, I have to be honest. I would really love somebody from Harbor Freight to turn me on to one of those Bauer 22-inch scroll saws. I've been looking at those, and 22 inches is a little bit big for what I do, but you know what? They always say bigger is better. And I'm not in Texas, I'm in California, but you know, things don't have to be bigger in Texas always. They can come to California. But you know, I'm joking, unless of course somebody wants to give me one. But I just want to let y'all know, thank you for subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for the comments that you have made about my amputation and other health problems that I've had and everything. Yeah, it really does my heart good to know that there's other people out there not going through what I've gone through, and hopefully you never do, but to know that they've watched my videos and they've made comments on them. Like I said, I'm not looking to make any money, not looking to be sponsored. I just like making videos, sharing my life, and telling people who I am. Well, I'm at 26 minutes, so I'm going to sign off. Let me turn the camera this way. You all have a blessed day. I love you all. Have a very Merry Christmas. If I don't get to you before then, hopefully I'll make another video or two. This is Chris from CW62 signing off.